Greetings fellow snowflakes! I want to talk about transphobia as it relates to dating transgender people, and when something is transphobic and when it's not. I tried to do a video about this a couple of months ago, but it wasn't very good, so I deleted it. Now I want to tackle the subject once again. Whether the whole cotton ceiling thing or Riley Dennis's videos about this topic, the discussion of transphobia as it relates to sex or dating gets a lot of backlash from a lot of people, so I wanted to share my own take on this controversy. But firstly, let's start with what's not transphobic. It's not transphobic to not be sexually attracted to a particular trans woman, or even most trans women. If you've never yet, to your knowledge, met a trans woman who you find sexually attractive, then that's fine. It's also not transphobic to have a preference with regards to genitalia. I personally don't see why certain aspects of sexual orientation should take precedence over certain other forms of sexual orientation. While nobody wants to feel reduced to or defined by their genitals, it is understandable, given that a huge part of sexual interaction involves genital touching, that for some people, what equipment their sexual partners happen to have might be a deal breaker. You don't like cock? Fair enough. You don't like vaginas? Fair enough. I think sexual orientation with regards to gender can involve preference for feminine or masculine looks, preference for male or female psychology, preference for male or female anatomy, or any combination of the above. For some people, it matters whether the person they are dating is a man or a woman, irrespective of their anatomy or their gender expression. For some people, it matters whether their sexual partners are feminine or masculine, regardless of their anatomy or their identity. For some people, it matters whether they are going to be sexually involved with penises or vaginas. Or more than one of these things might matter, all of them or none of them. That is the reality of the sheer variety of sexual orientations, and all of it is okay. You don't do dick? That's fine. You don't tend to usually find trans women attractive? Then that's also fine. It absolutely is the case that no one should put pressure on you to want to date with or sleep with people that you don't want to date with or sleep with. And for that matter, most people don't really want to date with or sleep with people who aren't interested in or accepting of who they really are anyway. But here's what is transphobic. Calling a trans woman a man because they have a penis. Calling a trans man a woman because they have a vagina. Calling a trans woman or a man or a trans man a woman even after they have had surgery. Saying it is gay for a man to sleep with a trans woman. Saying that a woman is not really lesbian when she is not interested in men at all but will sleep with both cis and trans women. Automatically ruling out the possibility that you could ever be attracted to, want to have sex with or fall in love with a trans woman or trans man for that matter purely because of their birth sex. Not all trans women have penises, you know. Not all trans men have vaginas. And no, it's not okay to say that post-op genitalia is not like the real thing. And people fall in love with and want to have sex with people all the time, even though they might discover some physical imperfection or something unexpected about their past. Though all sorts of things might be deal breakers for some people, I think you can understand how shallow and shitty that might seem to the rejected party. I sort of understand too how some people might really want to start a family with someone, and so the lack of reproductive capacity might be a deal breaker, but there are cisgender people who are infertile too. If you're making a big exception to your usual behaviours in situations where the person is trans, then it's just possible that you're being a bit transphobic on some level. Just a thought. You can't really rule out the possibility that you might desire and fall in love with a transgender person at some point in the future. Let's use race as an example, since people are often eager to do so. You might, generally speaking, tend to prefer white partners over black partners. That's fair enough. You shouldn't have to sleep with any of the black people you've met if you don't want to. But if you make a blanket statement that you could never be sexually attracted to or fall in love with someone who is black, then it just might be possible that you're being racist. Black people come in a lot of varieties, you know. How can you honestly say that you'd never in the future meet anyone from that race that ticks all your boxes? The same is true for transgender people. We come in all sorts of varieties. Some are stereotypically feminine, some are stereotypically masculine, some are somewhere in between. Some pass really well as their identified gender so that you'd never know when you first met them. Others don't pass well at all. Some are on hormones and so have secondary sex characteristics in keeping with their identified gender. Some are not on hormones yet. Some have the genitalia they were born with. Some have had surgery and so have genitalia that might look and feel exactly like the genitals of those born with them. Surgery is very good these days. So even with a strong gendered preference for your sexual partners, you can never entirely rule out how you would feel about a transgender woman or a transgender man. To say you could is, like in the race example, prejudiced and discriminatory. Just saying. We're all different, we're all special, snowflakes unite.